Technology is really the only thing through which you can do new things. I've always said this, because everything has been done, really, one way or another. So technology allows you to create new combinations, new relationships, new interactions, and it's as simple as that, really. Basically, I was really interested in the idea of like crafts and the old way of thinking, but on minimalist shapes. I like this idea that you would be able to experience something quite traditional, handmade, but in a contemporary setting. That's what I really like. About 2 days ago, we arrived to Paris from London with the collection, and we've been doing the fittings and actually deciding how we want the show to flow. Can we bring Rio? Can you bring over the yellow dress that came this morning? The whole idea is based on kind of contemporary culture in terms of how we look at art, how we appreciate things, or in effect, how we don't appreciate things. It's about how maybe people would go to a gallery environment but not understand what they're looking at, and this sort of aspiration to have a cultural life. So to mark that idea further, what I wanted to do was to have the models drink champagne like they would do in a gallery, and look at the screen like they're actually trying to look at something, but that all they see is themselves. But themselves sipping, because there is a secret camera inside the glass. I thought it would be this idea of self-image, and that's essentially what it's about. Fashion shows, what they really do is they show the new image of the body. I mean, for me, that's what they do. In my view, fashion does reflect, what's going on in life. The difference now is that the classic notion of the fashion show is very different, because it's just like, for me, a version of a pop video in effect, because it is about the image of the body still, but there is a sort of a voyeuristic, popularist aura around it that it just becomes another disposable moment.
The first time I collaborated with Hussein, the idea was to draw a way of showing his environment and his collections, but to design a new language for fashion shows in general and for his in particular. And I remember really well coming to him and saying there are few elements which I think we should apply now and forever, and effectively a different type of approach of fashion, as well as a different type of approach to what some people have called spectacular shows.
When I first think of a project, I don't think about the technology I want to use. I think about the idea, and I think about what I'm trying to convey. And then I think about the technology that's right for it. And then I start to approach people, different specialists. And often when I approach engineers or programmers, they haven't done anything like it before. Tonight we finished the fittings, and then we came over here to see how the actual sip sequence will happen and how it would fit onto the screens, and did a run through as to how we think it might work during the show. The idea was that you would have hidden cameras in the glasses that would record live the sipping process of the model once on stage. Once she picks it up and starts drinking, she'll be able to actually see herself sipping on the screen. And then when there's more than one, there's something quite primal about it, because you see the mouth and you see the teeth and sometimes inside the mouth. The way you've numbered the glasses, they have to know that, right? They'll know that that moment is for 3. So it's not random, because you've programmed it in such a way that it's the glasses that activate that. What will be a disaster, basically, is if there's 3 girls and only 2 come up. That will be... You know what I mean?
We've been just setting up the night before the show, and we're just finished off now sealing up cameras into the glasses. We've got these little wireless cameras with a little battery and a tilt switch and an LED light. So when you tip the glass beyond about 15 degrees, it illuminates the face and the camera starts to transmit. And that goes back to PC. I've written some software that then translates those images into something we can render on screen, produces a mixture of these images over time, and starts to generate this central kind of bubbling pot of imagery. It's quite an odd image. They tend to actually light up the inside of the mouth. So you get this slightly saturated, over-coloured image of the inside of the mouth, something certainly you wouldn't see very often.
There's three of them sipping at different times. Every time they put their glass down, it disappears.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I put it down and the image will stay just for an instant. I can extend that period. So I can make that,
that might be
5 seconds, you know.
Let's try the three to see how it kind of how they relate to each other.
Okay.
And let's do them at different times because they won't be like sipping at the same time.
Okay. I mean, there's going to be a lot of variation. There's the actual angle of the camera and its field of view. You're going to get this somewhat distorted, very slightly out of focus, plus a little bit of interference. But ultimately, it's a live event, so you haven't got complete control over what's finally going to happen on the screen. But I'm confident that it will produce an interesting result.
It's looking like I'll be the waiter serving them the drinks. That's just kind of playful because I've done that kind of thing before where I would be another character just because it makes it enjoyable and I guess it's unexpected as well.
That's amazing, like, that's quite something.
Is he alright? Is he going to lock himself in the toilet? Hussein, are you okay?
Yes, yes. Let us know. Alex is so used to this way of working with me. He always knows that I'm going to do something like this.
Hussein's shows are always a challenge, always, because first of all, they're done very humbly with very little means, hardly none at all. You have very little time given in your space and to put all together to make it work. The second challenge is to continue being hopefully interesting and surprising on similar topics, but in different, increased way every time.
You need to do the tackling thing anyway, so even if you haven't tried it, because that's going to be a problem on everyone. Sometimes there might be new people in the team or whatever, and I can sort of, you know, get a bit frustrated and you might see a film clip of me kind of shouting at someone or whatever. You know, I can get agitated if I feel something is going wrong, but I think it's to do with being a perfectionist, you know. But often I do work with people who know me and know the way I work, and we've built a team around us and they've also made a lot of effort. It's a two-way thing, it's not just about us, you know. I come up with an idea, but without other people I can't make things happen. You know, I have to have the right people around.
So he always finds a way to elevate his show to be better than the last show, so he's constantly sort of really competing against himself, to be honest, because he has such high standards. And everyone who works around him, all of our expectations of show have also been raised because we've worked on lots of things like this. The number of times I've said to Hussein, we haven't got enough money, we haven't got enough time, it's impossible, how are we going to find someone to do this? And lo and behold, the show happens and it's all fantastic.
It is nerve-wracking, but you know, I've been doing this sort of stuff for so many years, like these shows, and I work with different technologies and different experts who've worked with me on different things. So I'm kind of used to it. And I think the performance element in this one is really personal, and it's not a very big space. I think it'll be quite intimate and quite special really, because it doesn't seat a lot of people. And I like that because it means it's not like one of those blockbuster shows. You know, what I'd like people to experience during this show is a sort of, in a way, a very ordinary situation of models wearing clothes, walking, and then looking at a screen and sipping a drink, but the surreal element at the same time. So what I'm really after is this sort of almost a banal situation that in itself becomes monumentalized because of what's happening. But I don't think it's going to be a flashy show. I think it's a very simple show, but I like the fact that there is this sort of peculiar aspect, because I think it will make it really unexpected. I think the show is really about the clothes, because that's what a fashion show is about. But at the same time, we have this live feed. I think that it's an interplay. It's essentially the reason why you go to a show, a fashion show, is to see clothes. But my work has always been cross-disciplinary. I think there's nothing wrong with creating an environment for the clothes that you think carries your idea of that particular project. So in effect, I see the projection on the screen as an extension. I don't see it as a distraction.
When you do that, when you do something more conceptual in a fashion show type environment, given you have very little time to prepare it, very little time to spend with your subject, which are the collection and the models, you do something that's actually much more live than any theater piece or musical piece ever.
It was very good. It was really good. I think that I've always liked a challenge, to be honest, and I think that life is really short, and I always wanted to be excited about what I'm doing. I see technology as being excited rather than seeing it as scary, because we've done really amazing projects which seemed impossible to me in the beginning, and the fact that we found a way of making them possible, really quite incredible, really.